I talked about this on my other channel, and anybody who's been paying any attention to all of these different things, will, hey, they will really come to the conclusion that, there's something very, very strange about the world that we live in. It just doesn't add up. There's a lot of things that don't add up in our society. And, here's one strange story here. Talks about Donald Trump being, again, a time traveler and being able to travel from one time period to another. Obviously, there's no such thing as time travel, but they do want us to believe these stories. So they promote them in the news. One of the strange things about this one here, it says here, talks about Barron Trump's book, where Barron Trump is actually in a book. Let's see, he's in a book written in the 1900s or the 19th century, in the 1800s, and he is in the book as a rich kid who lives in Trump Castle, and he has a mentor whose name is Don, and Don, um, he's going to be the last president, and this was all written supposedly in the 1800s, and this entire fantasy that was made up. I don't really believe it. I think again that we are living in times of great deceit and deception, where they're going around the CIA or going around planting information or disinformation out in the news to make us believe that they have ultimate control and power even over the future. And so this obviously is a ploy, but I can say this, that it seems convincing because again the entire book seems to be dated, and let's see, the characters in it seem to be believable that this person who was writing in the 1800s fashion. But the idea that someone could actually travel through time, we know that's impossible. If you could travel through time, then you would be able to, control time. And if you can control time, then you could change the very course of a lot of people's lives. Because again, just think if someone went back in time and then, caused your mother not to meet your father, then you stop being who you were, because obviously you would never be born. So they don't have that kind of control, and it's just hogwash. But again, there is a connection between Donald Trump and time travel. You might look that up. But I think there's a bigger thing that I wanted to speak about. And the bigger thing is just the downright deceit that goes on in America, and the disinformation project that's going on. When it comes down to us here in America, we are being um, we are being played with by the elites, and they use a lot of trickery. And obviously, some of the trickery has to do with a lot of stories that they tell us, stories that are made up to convince us that things are really real when they're not. And I talked about the Bill Cosby case. Um, Bill Cosby being disgraced in public. Obviously, yes, he is being disgraced in public. This is very real there. The court, however, the court scene, I don't believe was real, and I don't believe that he's really in prison. But again, this is the narrative that they want us to believe. Why would they do this? Well, obviously to make us feel like we're spiraling out of control, and that somehow we need to have somebody to come and save us from just the future, or an out of control state. And I think they're trying to create what you call in America the rogue state, where now people are going to jail for nothing. They can be tried as many times as a person wants to. They don't follow the Constitution, and that police are bullies, and then also the race card. Black people are being picked on. So all of this is fitting right into the fear that they're trying to feed us. And again, it seems to be working because, again, they use stories like this and then outrageous scenes where people will just do something outrageously. Like, for instance, who really believes that this woman, who was an actress, um, would actually do such a thing, paint her body with Cosby on her back and also on her front, and then also run around without a shirt on, calling Cosby a rapist. That just seems to be over the top and a little mentally deranged. Now, it would be mentally deranged if it just happened because this person became so disturbed about Bill Cosby's so called rape allegations. But it would not be mentally deranged if this person had another agenda, possibly to get paid, possibly to um, revive her acting career, and then also be given carte blanche treatment in the future for carrying out such actions. Now, again, with Bill Cosby, he is not innocent neither. You can see he's got the smile on his face. He knows that what he's facing is just a kangaroo court scene so that they can carry this out. This is very similar to the OJ case. They did the same thing with us with OJ. Um, and it's, again, to get us afraid. Bill Cosby knows why he's been disgraced, but can't tell the public why. And so this is, again, to bring up the hate, create an atmosphere of racial division and also distrust of our systems of government, and also distrust of our um, court system and the police authorities, because it seems like we're spiraling out of control. Really, we're not. We're really facing a bunch of people who really need to be uh, taken out of the United States, disbanded from the public, because, again, these people who are responsible for this, they are a small group of people who are trying to change this country and to point us in the direction of the new world order. And that basically is why these things are happening. Again, you can tell that this is definitely a huge game of chess. And they're using stooges and pawns in a huge chess game in order to bring about the results that they want to bring about. Well, how do I know that they're doing this? Well, I'm going to let you hear this interview with this woman, and she's going to tell you. She's a journalist who, is aware that, there is this kind of conspiracy going on in America, a conspiracy to, confuse the public to bring about a new world order agenda. And all of the things that we're seeing, again, with the shooter here, and just a number of other things, all of these things are used to create anxiety within us, to cause us to become afraid, and to cry out for a new world order.
Let me take a step back. We have to deal with it. Let me take a step back and a deep breath, because this is a very painful thing to talk about. So, all over the world, we know, it's well established, the State Department and intelligence agencies engage in theater, and it's what they do, it's spycraft, to create spectacles and events that people may not realize are spectacles and events, but that, well, like the overthrow of Mossadegh in the 50s in Iran. Uh, they'll funnel money to protesters. They'll, fly people in to infiltrate protesters. They'll create fake newspapers and so on. So we know that this happens in countries around the world. I believe that a law has been passed in the United States. I think it's part of the Defense Authorization Act. I need to confirm this. That, now makes it legal to propagandize American citizens. Do we know about that? Yeah, it's true. There's, this kind of reflexive vilification of anyone speculating about that because they become a conspiracy theorist, right? Well, just bear with me. I've often thought about this because our intelligence agencies, I respect spies. I mean, who are doing, like, before it got out of control, I believe we need intelligence. I believe we need intelligence agencies. I don't think there's anything dishonorable about being in the intelligence services if you obey the Constitution and the law. But all over the world, our intelligence services are engaged in conspiring to create outcomes. That's their job. That's how they're successful. So now that it's illegal to propagandize in the United States, it doesn't surprise me that there's more and more products coming up in popular culture, more and more events in the news stream that seem to be, to my eye, to be subsidized. So what this means is, and as a journalist, to say these words, I can't tell you with what a heavy heart I say them, but we've entered an era in which it is not crazy to assess news events to see if they're real or not real. And in the United States as well as overseas. And in fact, it's kind of crazy not to.
Okay, well, you heard that interview, and hopefully that you tell me what you think about it. But again, we are really under attack in this country, and it's going to really just take the Lord, the prayer, in order for us to turn around. So, anyway, I'll talk to you later.